Kal Kadosh, Boker Or, Daf Yomi, Masechet Menahot, Daf Mem Amud Aleph, 48:1. Says the Gemara, Tanu Rabbanan. We're going to start learning with a Braita. Sadin betzitzit. We have a sadin of pishtan, which is basically like a blanket, right? Of of tzitzit. Bet Shammai potri. Bet Shammai says it's going to be patur. Bet Hillel says it's mechavin. V'alacha kedvei Bet Hillel. Halacha is like Bet Hillel. Amar Rabbi Elazar. Says Rabbi Elazar. Bar Rabbi Tzadok. V'alo kol ha'metil tchela b'Yerushalayim. Eno lo min matvin. If you're going to come and put tchelet on in Yerushalayim on a beg of pishtan, you're like the interesting people, because they're going to say, what? You're wearing kilayim. What's going on? Amar Rabbi imken if so lama asrua. Why do they say that it's going to be asur? Lefishem bekiin, because they're not bekiin and making smuchim, which means that they don't understand that kilayim is mutar only in tzitzit. So if they're going to come and permit it in tzitzit, they're going to permit it all the time. Meaning like this, since it's written immediately right beside tzitzit, right? It's written about kilayim. Kilayim is wearing shatnez, and it's written right beside tzitzit. So whenever you wear tzitzit, you're allowed to wear tzitzit with kilayim, meaning you're allowed kilayim and tzitzit. But since people are not bekim, they're not experts in how to expound that, so therefore they're going to say, you're allowed to wear it. What's the proof? But I wear it in tzitzit. Well, tzitzit is allowed. You understand that's the exception to the rule, but usually not. So because of that, they went and they prohibited it. Because if not, what's going to happen is all of a sudden you're going to start wearing it and everything, and then it's going to be a problem. So because of that, they prohibited it. Okay, they prohibited it in kilaim, even in the tzitzit. It's not that it's a sur. They just said don't do it. Why don't do it? Because they don't want it. You're going to start permitting it in other cases as well.
You might think like
Is that you might think that you always do kilaim. So because of that, they stopped it. Okay. So Amar le Rava bar Rav Chana le Rava, says Rava bar Chana to Rava velilmu be'asara. They should put 10 people, right? And they're putting it on when 10 people v'nafku l'shupka, and then go out to the shuk when they're putting it on. Umefarsem ala milta, and then they're going to be mefarsem the thing. Meaning, if you want to spread the word, if you have one person, even if it's a yenta, it's not usually going to help. You know what you need? Take 10 people and do it. Take a minyan, put them all these tzitziot with the kilaim and everything, and send them to the shuk. All of a sudden, people come, right? Like what we just said here, right? Black tzitziot. People are going to look, they're like, huh? Black tzitziot? Where did you do? Yeah, at the beginning, they think that maybe it's like, like one of the strings of the pants, or I don't know whether they're thinking, they don't realize it's seat. Now, if you want Be'emet to take out that that's the halacha, what do? Take 10 people like that, and you throw them into the shuk, right? You throw them into a big bet knesset or into a shuk, and all of a sudden, right? Imagine a big, super marketplace, right? Or whatever it is, at the bingo, like a huge thing. They come, people are looking, like, wow, one person, then two, three, four. So that's what you have to do, right? So that's the Gemara is asking. Why don't you do it? So he says, Kol sheken the mitamu ilavan. He says even more so. People are going to come and they're going to start saying, hey, look how many people are wearing kilaim now. So he says, fine, so give a drasha on it. All the rabbis are going to come up on parashat, whichever, Terumah, Shabbat, or whatever it is, and they're going to speak about it. So he says, Gezerah mishum kala ilan. He says, Gezerah, Chachamim came and they made a Gezerah, which means that you're not allowed to come and put tzitzit on a beg of pishtan because they're not bekim, because of the chashash. Maybe they're going to put colored clothing, bekala ilan, which means that it's something which the tseva is dometo atchelet, and therefore they're going to be over on the isur of kilaim, and they're not going to be mekayem the mitzvah of techelet. Right? So look in the footnote. This is very important. This is what we have today. The tchelet. Everyone wanted to know about tchelet. צבע תכלת הנדרש למצוות ציצית מקורו מדמו של בעל חיים ימי הנקרא חילזון. So the tchelet, right? Everyone's reading from the English or the Hebrew, right? Okay, he's checking the ChatGPT. Fine, right? He says you have to. It comes from the chilazon. Bal chayim, right? Ze nadir meod. It's very not frequent, right? That means it's not. It's very rare. It's not one of these, these type of animals that you can find anywhere. ולכן צבע תכלת דמיו יקרים, and that's why it's very very expensive. צבע דומה אבל זול יותר יוצר מצמח האינדיגו. He said indigo, right? There's a tzemach, there's a plant which is called the indigo, which you could get a very similar color, and it's going to be very similar. So he says, aval tzeva zeh, it's pasul for mitzvah tzitzit. So he says, what? No. So he says, socharim amei haaretz, they used to come and they used to color the tzitziot, umochrim otam kechute tzeva tchelet. Bnei Adam enam bekim, if they're not experts in the difference between the two colors, because it's very difficult to know the difference between the two colors, they used to come and they used to put it on. Now, what happens? It's pasul.
They used to buy it from India, the dye.
Yeah. So therefore, it's pasul. So therefore, because of that, it becomes a problem. And that's what I told you guys.
No,
Nowadays, the reason why we don't put on tchelet is a very, very simple reason, right? If right now it's not the real tchelet and it already changed because the rabbis already, they changed it, I think, more than once already, right? Meaning like many, many, many years ago, there was a first Rebbe or whatever it was that he said, no, this is the color. This is the thing. And then they went and some people went for it and the majority didn't. Then all of a sudden they went and they found another one. And then they said, no, 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 this is the real one. And then what happened was that more people followed it. But then 1 second, between the first and the second one, what happened? Meaning that there's a difference. Meaning that if you come and you get the wrong tchelet and you put it on, you're not Yitzhak Chovah. It's a sur then. You understand? So it's a sur. So because of that, I prefer to be 100% safe than sorry. Because remember, we already learned tchelet is not me'akev. But the levan is me'akev. Meaning if you have the wrong tchelet, it is me'akev. So therefore it's a problem. So 100%. So says the Gemara, v'lo yeh levan. So therefore, even though the chut tzeva is going to be tzeva kala ilan, which is coming out, which is tchelet, nevertheless, you should still have the tzeva lavan. So he says, kevan divshar b'minan lo. He says, since you could put the mitzvat lavan and the tzitzit, right, in the same species, right, so it's not going to be kilaim. So you're not allowed to use it even with kilaim. Meaning, I could use it without kilaim. So why are you going to use it with kilaim? So for people are not going to know again. So whenever you find a positive commandment and a negative commandment, if you could fulfill both the positive and the negative, mutav, then it's going to be okay. And if not, so the positive will come and push off the negative. Right? Remember, it's not a negative. I always say negative commandments, and somebody once came to me, they go, Rabbi, what does it mean a negative commandment? I said, Salotase. He goes, is that negative? It just means don't do something, but it's not negative. I said, okay, you're right. Meaning, literally speaking, you're right. No, but negative kavanah, it's not really negative because when you say negative, it means it sounds like it's something bad. It's not something bad. It's something good. It's just telling you, protecting you not to do something. But it's not that that the mitzvah is negative. It's just that it's a mitzvah lo taseh. It's a mitzvah to refrain from doing something. Right? Fine. So ask the Gemara velivdikuah. So why don't you just check? Check the chutim if they're tchelet or not. So he says gezerah mishum teima. It's going to be a gezerah because they might start selling it, and they're selling it, and they might start using it. And it's pasul. So says the Gemara velichteva diske. So they should write a letter, right? Start writing letters to start telling people whether it's kosher. So ediske likum lismach. He says, well, we're going to come and start being mismachim on shluchim on letters and everything. You can't always rely upon letters. Letters is not always. You understand? You don't know how many times people they write letters, and okay, so you have a letter for a little bit.
Machine pick the garment and they give you the exact color, exact.
Okay, there you go. Okay, I hear you. Okay. Amar Rava. So Rava now comes and he says, Hashta now, Memam Dubet. Yeah, 40b. Yeah, Memam Dubet. So he says, Chametz Pesach B'Yom Kippurim, right? The karet. Samchina Nadiske. Says, what about the Isur of Chametz on Pesach or eating on Yom Kippur, right? That the punishment is karet. We are going to be somech on Yigeretz. Hachadase Be'alma Lo Koshka. I don't understand. Chametz on Pesach. What do? We start sending out letters telling everybody when it's going to be Pesach. If somebody eats chametz on Pesach, what's the isur? Karet. Kippur, right? We want to know when is Kiddush HaChodesh, and then we're going to come. It's karet. We rely upon messengers. We rely upon letters. This is a positive commandment. There's no karet. There's no nothing. Well, if you're going to tell me on Kippur, you're going to be somech on the letters, or on chametz on Pesach, you're somech on the letter. You're not going to somech on letters for tzitzit. It's a regular mitzvah to say. Elamarava, but rather Rava says, Hamin Tamre, this is what they said. And they said it in the west, which is in Eretz Israel, in the name of Zira like me. Shema Yikra Sadino Betoch Shalosh. Maybe what's going to happen is the Sadin is going to tear within 3 etzbaot of the kanaf. Vit Perenu. And then you're going to sew it together. That Torah Amra Taaseh Velo Mina Asui. And then you have a problem of Taaseh Velo Mina Asui, which means you have to do it and not that it was done, which means like this. Right? Imagine right now I've got a tzitzit. Yeah, you've got a tzitzit. Let me bring the tzitzit so you understand what I'm talking about. So you have the tzitzit. Yeah, and what happens is that over here where you have the tzitzit, which is 100% pasul because they didn't do it properly, but okay, fine, right? Not doraita, but drabanan, whatever, right? So what happens is like this. Yeah, over here, all of a sudden it tore from within the 3 etzbaot of the knaf. Right, 3 it's about 6 centimeters. Okay, so now what happens? I come, this beged, is this now kosher or pasul? The beged, this clothing,
Kosher.
is it kosher or pasul? No, but I cut one off.
The edge.
I cut it off. It's if I cut it off. Now how you only have three. So what happens? It's pasul. Correct or not? It's pasul. It's just a clothing with three corners. It's pasul. Right? With pasul, but I've got the other three tzitziot here. Yeah? Which one? Yeah. So it's pasul. I'm going to come and I'm going to sew it together. When I sew it together, what did I just make it? Kasher. 1 second. Ta'aseh v'lo min hasui. Ta'aseh v'lo min hasui means you have to make it kosher. It cannot be kosher on its own. That was the same thing that I mentioned to you again with the sukkah, right? If I come and it's raining or it's snowing, right? And I come and I already have the walls of the sukkah. The walls of the sukkah are all up all year. And all of a sudden I come and it starts raining. So I pull out the top cover, right? On top of the sukkah. And then what I do is that some of them they have it higher up. So what I'm able to do is I come up with a ladder and I come and I start putting the roof. And then I put the schach and I put everything. And all of a sudden now it stops raining and I open up the cover. When I open up the cover, the sukkah is pasul. Why is the sukkah pasul? You're going to say, why is it pasul, Rabbi? If I come and see it, I won't notice the difference. Why? It's a regular sukkah. The problem was that when you made the sukkah, it was pasul. And when you opened up the cover, that's when you made it kasher. You have to make the sukkah. It's not that the sukkah is made on its own, that when I unravel the cover, now it becomes kosher. So that is very important. That's to do with a sukkah.
And you have to redo it.
Yes, exactly. That's what the doctor spoke about moving it all around or all doing all these things because you cannot just come and you can do it, right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So what happens is which one? So when you stitch it, it's still not gonna be kosher. Why tasevelo minasoy? Tasevelo means when you stitch it. No, but only when you fixed it, they become kosher. You can't do that. You would have to untie them.
Untie the what?
The tzitzits. Sew it and then start tying it. I
The letter. Think of this. If you have something wrong in the letter, and you're gonna.
Ela Rava, but rather Rava comes and he says, Hamin Tamre Vitma Marava, right? He said, Shami Krat Sadino, Tok Shalosh, maybe it's going to tear. Vit Peren, and you're going to sew it. And the Torah says, Tasa Velobinosui. So Shara de Bizera Lesadine. So the Bizera came and he permitted the Chutetzitzit and he took them off. Rav Zera Amar Gezera Mishum Ksut Laila. It's a Gezera because of Ksut Laila. Vamarav Rava says, Hamin Tamre Vitmar Bimarav Mishmed Rav Zera Kavati. He shel beged, right? Uknafea shel or. What does that mean? If the talit itself is the beged and the knafea, right, is going to be of leather. So therefore, basically what they did was they cut off the corners and they put tlaim of or, they put patches of leather. Chayevet, it's going to be chayevet in the seeds. But if it's going to be the beged is of or, and the knafea is going to be a beged, right, it's going to be ptura, my time up, because the ikara beged by then. You need the ikara beged, it says beged and not or. Meaning or is not chayav. Rav Achai Azil Bata Knaf, but Rav Achai went and he said everything is depending on the Knaf. That I don't care about the Yikara Beged, I care about the Knaf. Amar Rava Amar Rav Sechora Amar Ravuna. Says Rava in the name of Sechora Ravuna. Hitil Baalat Shalosh. If you're going to put tzitzit in a Baalat Shalosh Knafot, right? So he says Vishlima le'arba. And then what happens is you're going to make it now that it's going to be the Knaf Arevit, you finished it off. It's going to be Psula again because of Tasavim Nusoi. So Meitvei, we're going to ask the following question. He says the second that needs to put three etzbaot, right away put the tchelet. Now how do they put the tchelet? It's still not chayav in tzitzit. So he says, Ema, you're right. Kevan shepatzuba shalosh. Once they used to get to three etzbaot, hayumatilin la tchelet. That's when they used to come and they used to put the tchelet. So says the Gemara, Mi amrina and tasavim n'usoi v'amar b'zara itilim mutelet. Right, kashira. Says, what are you talking about? That there's a concept of tasavim n'usoi. It says that you're allowed to do that. Why? Because if you're going to have a beggar that they already put the tzitzit kilchata, and then afterwards you took off the first ones, it's still kosher because of the last ones. Yeah? Meaning like this. Imagine right now I've got this, right? I come and I put new ones. So I put an extra one here, right? Let's say it's right, and I put new ones, and then I untie the old ones. So I just made it kasher. But 1 second.
The extra.
But what's going on? Because basically it became kasher by untying the old ones. What's going on? So there's no tasavim nisui. So Amrava hashta baltosif kai maaseh lo havi. He says that's baltosif. It's not a maaseh. Meaning over there you had an avera because kilu you're adding on to the amount of tzitziot that you're supposed to have. You're not supposed to have every single corner two. You're only supposed to have one, and you had two on every single corner. So ever since you had baltosif, by the fact that you removed the baltosif, that's fine. But it's not a maaseh. It's nothing to do with maaseh. So Matkifla Rav Papa asks, right? He had the kavanah to be mechaven. Maybe his kavanah was to be vatel. Ubal tosif leka maseika. Meaning like this: if I'm adding an extra tzitzit and my kavanah is to add, so therefore it's bal tosif. because I'm supposed to have one tzitzit on every corner, and I had two, right? Or I'm supposed to have four, species of lulav and etrog, and I had six, or I had eight, or whatever it is. But however, though, in this case, when we're talking about what are you doing exactly, right? You're coming, and maybe you want to be vatel the old one, meaning I don't like this old one, so I'm going to come and I'm going to put a new one. So I'm not being mosif, I'm being vatel. So therefore, it is called a maaseh. So says the Gemara, right? V'amar bizera, so right? So says the bizera, right? Amar matar mashul tchelet emba mishum kilaim, right? Va'afilu b'talib Torah. Sorry. So he didn't actually even answer it because basically he just went and he said the words of Rabbi Zera that taking off the old one that you're allowed to wear it, right? Is bemet. It's kasher bemet. It's a question. We don't have a. It should be really pasul. Do we have an answer? Let me see. Rav argues on Rav and he says that Tasev Nasui is also in Tzitzit. The beginning was pasul and not only when it was going to be mutar. Okay, here he has a summary in the bottom. Sikum, tzitzit, which was made in psul, right? It's pasul because of tasem Nasui, right? That's what Rava learned at the beginning of the mood, and Rabbi Zera agrees with him. When you're making the tzitzit before the chiyuv, there's a machloket amoraim. Okay, if it does apply also tasem Nasui. And according to Rav Papa, he says that it's not going to be noheg. Okay, fine. And then there's a machloket on reasoning. Okay, and then when you're going to add on and you have the yisur of bal tosif, right? Rav Papa holds that even though you're not over on the Yisur Bal Tosif, the tzatzit is still considered a suya, and it's kosher, and it's going to be pasul, right? Because of Tasem Masui. Fine. Okay. Amar Bizera says Bizera in the name of Rav Matna, in the name of Shmuel. Techelet emba mishum kilaim. Techelet has no problem of the Yisur of kilaim. Vafilu betalit pturan. Even if it's going to be in the talit, it's going to be patur from tzitzit. What does it mean, my talit ptura? If you're going to tell me that you don't have a shiur, meaning you don't have the measurements, as long as it's going to be that a talit is going to be enough that the katan could come and cover his head and the majority of his body. As gadol yotzeba derecharai. So the gadol could also go out with it, right? Derecharai, and it's going to be chayav b'tzitzit. Okay, and then obviously we continue from there. Okay.